I'm really excited to hear a little bit more about your story. I'm coming out to SF. So you took chatARV to $750,000 in revenue, and you were how old at the time?
We started in like December of 2024, so I was 16 then. And then most of like the peak growth happened like last summer when I was 17.
And how did you guys manage to do that so fast?
We each put in like $1,500, my co-founder and I, and we ran $50 a day ads on this one video that I recorded, and we were taking demos. So then I would come home from school, and there was a lot of like bite for this product, and I would have calls from around noon until 8 p.m. every day, and these are 15-minute calls. So I had like so many calls. This got us from like probably 0 to like 5K MRR, and then we realized people could probably pay for this without a demo. So we just allowed people to start a free trial, and then this was like June. We were at 5K MRR, and we got to 20K MRR by the end of July by letting people start free trials, and then it kind of just like went up from there. And all of it was from making Instagram Reels that we then run as ads, basically explaining that like we're looking at this deal, we need to figure out what the offer to the seller would be. AI is going to help us value the home, and then by the end of the video, they would see what the offer we're making is like, and how the AI came to those numbers. And yeah, it was like pretty entertaining. They were like really good performing creatives.
Awesome. I would love to just kind of rewind about like how you got into this and some of the things that you were doing before FastLease. So if you could kind of just walk me through like how you even got into entrepreneurship to start off with.
When I was 11 years old, my dad got a new laptop, and I asked if I could have it, and he told me that I could buy it. So I had to figure out how to make $500. So I started buying and selling things on Facebook Marketplace, and then like I was like flipping Nintendo Switches and PS4s, and then I saved up the 500, and then he ended up giving me the laptop for free and told me to just invest it into Ethan because he was like he liked crypto or whatever. So I bought half of an Ethereum. It shot up really high, and then I had like $2,000 or something, and then I started mining Ethereum, and I had to learn how to code a little bit to do that. And then I left it on for like 2 months while I went on family vacation, and like I made like $1,000, and then I bought a laptop, and then I learned how to actually code, and I started building websites for like real estate companies. After the website period, at like 14 years old, I started wholesaling real estate because I wanted to like break into sort of that industry, but I could not do anything until I had a real estate license or I had money. So I couldn't flip a property, and then I couldn't represent buyers or sellers. So the only thing I could do is find these value add deals for investors. So wholesaling is essentially just like finding an off-market deal or on-market at a discount. So say I get a property under contract at $100,000, and you, Finn, are looking to flip a property. I'll assign the rights to this property, like the contract to you for like $110,000, and then I'd make like $10,000. So I did like 10 of these deals between like 14 and like 16. And then last year I started a company called chatARV with a co-founder, where we were essentially helping real estate wholesalers and investors analyze properties. So we would pull like all the like 200 plus sales within like 2 or 3 miles, and then filter down based off like beds, baths, square footage, and everything. And then we would tell them like the top 6 most comparable. All of them would have like the same price range on sale price, and these were repaired properties. So then we'd help them find the after repair value, which is what they based their offer off of. And then we'd help them figure out what their initial offer to the seller would be, what the max they could offer is, and then how much they'd make if they sold to the buyer for X amount. So this company did pretty well. We got to like 750K in ARR. We raised like a small pre-seed. I since left that company and started FastLease.
What was it that you think really enabled you to crack the distribution and to get all the users for this product?
It was a very specific thing, actually. So whenever we first started running the ads, I was trying to research like viral formats that we could replicate. And there was a guy on Instagram named Real Estate King. He made these videos analyzing a commercial real estate deal of a split screen video of him here and then his software here. He wasn't selling a product. It was just like Google Maps or something. He was talking about how he's going to make an aggressive offer on this building or whatever, but it was like super entertaining. If you look at his profile, like one video has like 1.8 million views, 3.4 million views, and then the aggressive offer thing became a meme. And I didn't actually like use the aggressive offer thing at all, but the format itself was like really interesting. You could see the person speaking, and you could see the content beneath it. And then we just replicated that one-to-one amongst like probably 50 different videos over the course of like last year. I think the 5th video or 6th video that I ever made still performs better than anything else that we have tried to supplement it with. Like a disproportionate amount of our spend went towards this one like super well-performing creative.
Yeah, so pretty much found the person best at this, and then, you know, kind of remixed his format with your own unique spin on it, made your own versions of them at scale, tested that, and then started running the best ones as meta ads, right?
Absolutely.
Nice. Okay, and so obviously you're now moved on from chatARV, you've moved to San Francisco. Tell me about what you've been focusing on with FastLease, your newest company.
Yeah, so with FastLease, this started, I guess, in like November of 2025. A friend of mine, he was trying to like lease these buildings for a friend of his, and he was posting these on Facebook Marketplace as as organic posts. And they were since they were organic, like people would only see them for like 1 or 2 days, and then they'd be like ranked lower on the Facebook Marketplace algorithm. So the way that we kind of got a bunch of leads and inquiries on those buildings was posting from multiple different accounts. And then like we use AI to edit the images so it would look like it's a different building. And then like a bunch of people would say, is this available? But really they're all like inquiring on the same space. And that actually worked like pretty well to not spend any like money on ads for. I thought, okay, like with chatARV, it's like really niche. We couldn't figure out a way to like expand out of the user type that we were within. And then with FastLease, if we're just helping people market their buildings, and then eventually we can like expand out to actually help them lease those buildings too. If I look forward like 10 years, it's just a bigger version of what I'm working on today. And I think like great companies usually start like that. If you just keep doing what you're doing now and more people adopt your software, you're working on a good thing. And then now we actually don't need to post on like 20 different accounts. I have like more than like 1,000 accounts now to post from Facebook accounts. I just run ads on like one account. We achieve the same result as someone who's posting organic on like 10 different accounts. I think I'm in the learning phase right now, and it's been pretty fun.
Nice. So has the distribution strategy then for FastLease been purely to do the same thing through ads as last?
No, there's also like an outreach element, and I have been using origami for that.
Nice. Did you want to talk about what you're doing with outreach and what's working, what's not?
Yes. So my first time using origami was whenever we were running a test to see if realtors would be a good fit for chatARV, and we built like this realtor version. It was essentially, I was trying to launch the same style videos that we did with chatARV, but instead of me making the videos, I wanted to do influencer marketing with realtors. So I told origami to go and like find Instagram like realtors that have between like 25 and 100,000 followers, and then make sure that these people have like their name and email in their bio, and then find their phone number as well. And then I think realtors are hardly ever on do not call lists because their whole job is to be accessible, right? After I exported like, say, I think it was like 300 leads from origami, I used like a texting platform, and I sent the text, hey, is this name the realtor? And I think I got like 290 responses because it was like a very vague text. I exported the responses, put it in an auto dialer called like one of these auto dialers that calls like 3 people at the same time. I essentially said, hey, I'm working on this product, we can help you run your CMAs faster. If I give you a demo and you like it, would you be interested in possibly doing like a promotion on Instagram with us, a paid promotion? And I think off of like 50 phone calls, I had 10 yeses. So I had 10 meetings booked for the next week with realtors that we could do influencer marketing with. And this was like an order of magnitude easier than trying to get wholesalers to do influencer marketing with us, because these guys sold courses, right? And like it's really hard to like pay them to make a video for us whenever they already make like a decent amount from the videos they make for themselves. Save the leads that I want and I can receive them. So then with FastLease, I thought that it would be cool to try to prompt with the most likely tenants for the space that I'm working with, and then it can go and search within however many miles. I'd say, okay, we have this small bay warehouse space, and I'm looking for tenants that like would be maybe a car detailing company, or like a have like a long list for each different house, but it's just like X amount of different people that would be a good space. Find these people in this city, and then it would go and it would take all of the it would give me like, let's say like 150 people that would be a good fit, and then I would send the same text to them. So now I'm sending the same, hey, is this name with business? But this has a higher response rate than even the realtors, because a car detailing guy is under an LLC, and if the origami agent goes and finds his information and then we put him and LLC like 2 and 2 together, he's very surprised. So they were honestly kind of shocked, most of them, response wise. And yeah, maybe like out of every like 20 texts, I think I get like 1 lead. So it's definitely like cheaper than Facebook, but there usually aren't once I find those 100 people within like however many miles of that space, those are like the only 100 people that could be reached via outreach. So then I have to send texts, emails, and calls to make sure like I squeeze everything I can out of them.
That's fantastic. And so after getting into contact with these people, what have been your next steps towards working to close?
Whenever they give us a response, or if they are inquiring on like a different platform, we then qualify them, making sure they're a good fit for the space with like square footage wise, business wise, and budget wise. And then after we get like those 3 qualified factors, then we send them a link to book a meeting with the broker that is like assigned to that space. We send like follow-ups and confirmations to the broker and the lead, create a group chat, and then our agent just makes sure like both of them shows up or the meeting gets canceled beforehand if there's no response from either end. And then afterwards, we just follow up the lead and the broker to make sure we're tracking our fee.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, so you moved to San Francisco a couple weeks ago. You visited a lot over the past couple months. Are you completely no college plans? Like, what happened to high school? Like, were you doing high school at the same time as all this?
Yeah, Whenever we were doing the demos for chatARV, it was like from noon to like 8 p.m. I basically begged my counselor to let me do half of my classes online and half of them in person so that I could take demos during the workday. And then senior year, I did fully online high school. So I was able to like visit SF like a bunch of times without school conflicting with work. Yeah, it was pretty light, and I graduated like last week.
Nice. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I imagine it's a lot easier now that you have your full focus to actually work on scaling up your next venture with FastLease.
Yeah.
And so with FastLease, what are your plans? Like, where do you see the company eventually going and becoming?
Yeah, so I plan to build somewhat of like an AI native leasing firm. We generate like an insane amount of leads for some of these buildings, like 60 leads in 1 week for one building in Somerville. Apparently it took them like 6 months with their broker to get 60 leads for them. I think that if I can partner with enough brokers and help them market their buildings effectively over like a maybe 6 to 12 month time horizon, we can actually bring some of these brokers in with us internally, sign these lease agreements with these buildings, market them the same way we're marketing them ourselves, but then just remove the factor in which we're reliant on the lead booking with their broker, and their broker is the variable in which like, is this person going to come to the meeting? Do we need to follow up with the broker? Be the only ones responsible for things going through in that case. I think for the next 6 months though, plan on hiring a few engineers, just onboarding more buildings. The goal is to lease 1,000 units before the end of the year.
So obviously you were able to scale up chatARV to 60,000 a month just through the med ads. And now with FastLease, kind of a mix between the influencer strategy and also outreach, generating hundreds of responses through like your different outbound. What would you say for somebody who's trying to craft their initial distribution strategy based on what their niche is, on what the right approach is?
I think if you can do outreach to that's like a beautiful thing. I couldn't do that with chatARV because wholesalers are it's not a professional job. No one keeps it as a title anywhere. If you're selling to any sort of business or like a person who would be an employee at a certain business and you can do outreach, it will be cheaper. You have more control over the outcome. I would spam outreach, and I would also validate the business before I even work on it. So I would do outreach to these people to see if they would even be willing to hop on a call with me so that I can like pick their brain on their problems and see if like the value that I think I'd like to add is actually even something they need. If anyone hasn't read the book, The Mom Test, that was like really helpful for me. With chatARV, I called I think it was like 150 wholesalers before we actually had like the conviction to build the product. And then with FastLease, like I did the thing manually before working on it. So I would do outreach to these people offering, this is what I'm actually doing right now, because I have another idea to help people on the setup side. I have like an origami agent that I'm going to prompt today to reach out to like a few hundred tenant rep brokers so that we can see if helping them on the tenant rep side would be valuable before we actually build anything out.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. So pretty much you're testing the market before you even go out of your way to build something by kind of seeing what type of response you get. Can you talk about calling 150 people for chatARV before even getting a single positive response, and like what gave you the conviction to keep going there?
Well, no, I think like the people, most of the responses on like the first 10 calls that I had, I think were actually pretty positive. But at that point, I had like no startup experience. I had not read the mom tests yet, and I did not know how to ask like non-leading questions, I guess, right? And whenever you're trying to dig to like some source of truth, it's really important that like you ask like super open-ended questions that are not like biased in any sort of way, I guess. And I was super biased. I was like, hey, look at this like screenshot. It was like of a Figma thing. Wouldn't it be cool if ChatGPT could help you figure out the value of your home? They would say, yeah, that would be awesome. After like the first 10 calls or whatever, it was mainly out of laziness. It wasn't even out of some sort of like proactive, like smart move. It was just like, I did not want to build this thing that people wouldn't want, because before chatARV, I built this website that people could organize and join pickup soccer games. It had a bunch of users, but no one would pay. And then no one would pay because it wasn't a hard enough problem for them. They can use their group chats. But then with chatARV, it was actually like something that I knew could exist, but I did not know how important it was. And I knew that there was probably a variant of what I thought was needed that would actually be the true thing they needed. So I did figure that out. And some of the initial ideas that I had were like invalidated, and I was like led in the right direction. Yeah, I think it's like a net positive if you validate things before you build it.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you talk about like your process for building products in general?
Yeah, I don't think I have that much experience, so I don't think there's like a full process. I do think that it's important to do like the scrappiest thing possible. I know a lot of people like really enjoy engineering, and they'll spend all day long building this perfect product that no one wants. Like I'll talk to them like 2 months ago. I'm like, hey bro, how's it going? Yeah, I'm building the product. And then I talked to them like last week. Hey bro, how's it going? I'm still building the product. I think it would be mean if I said this, but like I'm genuinely curious if anyone even wants the product, you know? Like I know a ton of people that like have built things in the past, spent a long time building it, and then no one was willing to pay for it in the end. I learned how to code when I was young, and then I started doing like an actual like normal business where I spoke to people every day and that no one would give me the time of day unless I was of any sort of value. And then I went back to coding, and I think that was really important because I feel like a lot of engineers like love their craft and then they get clouded by the fact that like the world doesn't actually appreciate it. They appreciate value, you know?
Yeah, totally. So are you like building your products, with Cursor, with Claude Code, like, and are you spending like an hour a day doing it, most of your time on sales? Like, how do you actually think about getting the product?
So right now I'm using Conductor. I like using Codex for like long-winded sessions because it's better at planning than Claude, at least like 4.8. But Fable came out yesterday and I've been messing around with that a lot lately. Yeah, I also run like a lot of agent sessions. I was using browser use beforehand to operate all these different like browsers that we had. But then I kind of over-engineered things before launching. So this is also important. Like I did not follow my own advice that I just said in validating things before you do them. And I don't think it's also about the idea. It's probably about the way you go about your idea. And I made this mistake twice actually. This morning it happened too. This is funny. So whenever I was initially building the product, I did the thing that I told you where like we can post on like 20 different accounts in one market. And then I realized that like, oh, you could actually just boost these posts instead of posting them on a bunch of different accounts. And if I would have just done the thing manually first, I would have realized this and I probably would have saved like 2 weeks of time that it spent for me to build out that sort of flow. Now I'm just using browser harness with Fable, the new like Fable 5 thing, and running them on like the Chrome browsers on my computer, or like it's a Mac Mini. It's not my laptop. And then secondly, like this morning, for example, flow in which the brokers would set their availability on a calendar, and then the leads can book an appointment with the broker instead of us giving the leads to the broker calls and sets the appointment. We didn't fully have in place the flow in which leads were being bumped multiple times. I thought I did that. I also did not say that it would be canceled if they did not show up. So multiple people kind of just wasted the broker's time. And if I would have asked the brokers how they go currently setting appointments before I built this flow that I thought they needed, I would have been more valuable and the broker's time wouldn't have been wasted. I'm actually kind of scarred from not testing things first.
Yeah, it all comes back to being lazy at the end of the day, right? Saving yourself time. That's fantastic. And so do you have a co-founder right now? Or like what's your work split look like?
Yeah, no, it is just me and my agents. I think a lot of people have leverage today with the amount of tools that we have. It's probably like the best time to ever be a solo founder. I think if you can find a co-founder that can amplify your work, you're a lucky person. It's only a net positive. I think there's nothing stopping anyone from really starting right now because you can get really far alone.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, and yeah, just final thoughts. So you came out, you moved to San Francisco. Goal is to have 1,000 listings by the end of the year. Did I get that right?
Yeah, 1,000 units that end up getting leased from our leads. That would be awesome.
Nice. And do you plan on raising money for FastLease or bootstrapping?
Yeah, I have raised like a small amount. Some of like our previous investors joined this company. But I think it would be cool if I could take it really far without raising. If I get to a point to where raising can only help me, then I will 100% raise.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Aden, thank you for coming on. It's fantastic having you. Great thoughts, and we'll catch you again next time.